Alright, welcome back to the channel, my friends, and we are continuing to look at the new brands coming to our shores, and this time we're going to talk about another EV coming from China right now, which is right behind me over here, and it's called LEAPMOTOR. LEAPMOTOR does not belong to any massive kind of particularly well-known Chinese massive mega brands such as SAIC or such as Geely or one of those kind of big enterprises. LEAPMOTOR is LEAPMOTOR. It's its own thing, which I suppose is its main challenge on our shores, because earning the trust of Australians takes time typically. If you can come and show up with some kind of pedigree, I suppose, even if nobody knows you specifically. Geely, for example, is quite new to our market. It's easy to at least point at a Russian market or any other market and say, listen, they're very, very well known there. So this is, I suppose, the steepest of the hills that LEAPMOTOR would have to climb. Let's address the elephant in the room. But a lot of brands, a lot of cars started somewhere. So this is why I humbly believe that you should at least give it a look, at least give it some kind of further research, and hopefully my video is just going to give you at the very least first initial impression. We're not taking this car for a test drive, it's on the second floor of the showroom over here in Artarmon, Sydney, but I am going to sit in it and take a look at it and just tell you what I feel about it. Alright, so the biggest selling point of this C10 LEAPMOTOR, in my humble opinion, if you can overcome the fear of dealing with an unknown brand on Australian shores, is the fact that it's massive. It's rather massive. It's the largest electric SUV on our market, without any shadow of a doubt, and it is relatively cheap as well. You can buy it for about 50,000 Australian dollars. I think that's a pretty good deal, so that alone, just the price point would make me stop and think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below if this resonates with you. It does look a little bit like a black shark. It kind of doesn't have any particularly distinct features, but it certainly is very aerodynamic. So the first thing before I even sit down is an extremely minimalist design of this interior of this LEAPMOTOR C10. Take a look at this. There are sort of basic plasticky, nothing fancy, a bit wobbly, I'd say on the border of cheap. I would dare say on the border of cheap plastic finishes here. This is slightly disappointing me straight away, but I never promised to just praise things, have I? I promised you to tell you the honesty. This is cheap. This rubbery thing feels cheap under my hands. This is definitely cheap plastic. These things are slightly wobbly and a bit cheapish. Not a fan at all. The leather is fake, absolutely, obviously, and on par with my MG ZST quality of leather. I'd say that it probably will do the trick. It looks like it's ventilated. There are holes in this, but at the same time, it's nothing to write home about, right? It's rather comfortable to sit here. Sort of standard, expected, rather large infotainment system. One, I don't know if it's wirelessly chargeable, spot to place your phone, couple of cup holders, absolutely not one single physical button around here. Nothing, mate, nothing. Everything would be hidden inside here, inside of this infotainment system. Okay, that's cool. The central instruments cluster reminds me very, very much so of Haval H7, Haval H6. Speedometer on the left, car in the middle, a little bit of some information about you driving somewhere here, kind of sat-nav light version. On the right, visibility of it is, depending on how far you're sitting, well, you're certainly not going to be driving from this distance, but it's pretty low, I would dare say. Steering wheel, slightly sloped here at the top and at the bottom, kind of almost round, but not very round. Matte finishes, plastic, not feeling cheap. And there is a long bonnet/nose of this car in front of me. So let's try and adjust this. Yes, it's adjusting up. You can see I'm kind of moving upward. I'm trying to hold the camera very, very steady. It sort of moves me a little bit up, as you would expect, and visibility improves quite dramatically. So yes, from this perspective, you do feel a bit better, not as sunken, but still, it's not a high-sitting vehicle. Here's an example. Here is a Jeep standing next to me, just a Grand Cherokee. And even from where my eye line is, it's right behind the camera right now for you, I can tell you that it looks much taller. And that is not even a massively tall vehicle right there. So this gives you a bit of an idea. Driver fatigue monitoring eye over here. Nothing really else. It's a really, really aesthetic, very, very very, very bare. I would almost call it bare vehicle. What's here? It's just a simple box over here with some other stuff stashed here. It's not a cooled box by the looks of it. There is nothing else really to comment on. It's very, very simple, very, very basic. I don't know how I feel about it. Actually, I know how I feel about it. I don't like it. I don't particularly like it. It is not dooming for the brand, but I guess when you look at such a big vehicle, big brand new nice vehicle, kind of that in an electric vehicle, there has to be an explanation of why it's relatively cheap. Here looks like quite a lot of space. This is probably the main selling point of this vehicle, without shadow of a doubt. Let's get in, and yes, there is a lot of space. Take a look at how much space there is. Take a look at how much space is in front of me. It's a lot of space, and yes, there is a panoramic sunroof that is closed right now. And again, there is not much here. A couple of USB ports at the back, sort of holders for your bottles over here. Certainly the central elbow rest and the holder over here, but without holders for your bottles, which is very, very weird. What is this? Is just a table to put your crackers on, or just literally an elbow rest? Somewhat strange. We kind of got used to having these bottles here, right? And here in this C10, you would have to lean all the way forward to get your bottle. Is that usable for you? I'm not sold on this personally. I'm not sold, my friends. The nicest element of the design here, I would dare say, and I know it sounds kind of sad, is this bit. It actually looks better than it is because it's also some form of plastic, but at least it looks somewhat softer on the eye. It doesn't look just like this cheap plastic. And there are lots of different flavors of plastic. There is this, then there is this. Let's try and open the boot and see if it absolutely impresses us. Oh, there is a little button here by the look of it. But at the same time, I'm not seeing any other visible way of opening this. Ah, yeah, it unlocked it. Okay, so it's assisted. It's pneumatically assisted on these pistons, but it's not electrically operated tailgate. So you have to first press this button to unlock, and then you just open it by hand. The boot is, for a 5-seater, is evidently large, is rather large. I would almost say that the general dimensions of the car suggest that it could almost be a 7-seater, but it would be a bit cramped for a 7-seater. But it's a very generously sized 5-seater. That is definitely, one couldn't argue with that. There is a massive amount of space for a 5-seater over here. And we're not even folding the seats yet. What's under here? Well, obviously it's an electric vehicle, so there is just a charging cable. There is some mysterious sealer and inflator to fix your minor, I guess, punctures if they happen to you on the road. And that's about it. That's all you're getting for this price. And from this, let's remind ourselves, unknown brand, my friends, unknown brand. So I am giving everyone a go, as you know me. I'm not here to bash brands, I'm here to promote them. But at the same time, it needs to give me something. And other than questionable pass mark, but questionable design on the outside and a lot of interior space, I have not felt particularly welcome inside. And by welcome, I mean there are just kind of no conveniences of life there. There are no physical buttons, there are no extras. There is just kind of nothing in there. It's a bit bare. And I think the sense of whether or not something leaves you with a sense of being bare or with a sense of being rich is very, very important, don't you think? Would I personally be interested in it? I would say no. But I think it deserves the right to be inspected by people who might have a specific use case that I don't have. But in this case, we have kind of a compounding effect of it not offering much inside, as well as being an unknown brand. So what is there going for it? I'm just not being mean here. I'm just being here completely bluntly honest. What is going for it? Tell me what I'm missing. I don't think I'm missing much. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope I'll see you next week to talk about some other brands, established and less established, on Australian shores that represent value for Australian consumer. Thank you for being with me today. Talk to you next time.